we were intrigued by our next guest creation, so much so that we had to do it on our own. Yet we don't have facilities to cook in. So Pagano's is a new restaurant that opened up in our building. We've been restaurantless.
It's been a nightmare.
For 2 years until last week. So that was nice. And as soon as they move into the building, we asked them to do something for us. And they did.
We had to test it out.
And they took a bag of potato chips, actually a few different bags of potato chips, and made mashed potatoes out of them. And we got inspiration from our next guest to do that. And you know what? We gave it, it was interesting and tasty.
I liked it.
In its own way. But our next guest is actually coming to, and I assume we are interrupting his vacation because he's in Cancun, Mexico right now. You know him from his YouTube channel. Please welcome Sam, the cooking guy.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. How you guys doing?
Wonderful, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. But let me start by saying interesting is generally not how I hope my recipes are viewed when people make them. You know?
Well, no, listen, here's the deal. I enjoyed the flavor of the potato mashed potatoes. The consistency was a bit interesting. It was very, I know it's potatoes, but it was like even more starchy and stickier than regular mashed potatoes, I thought.
Look, I cannot help with some. This is like eighth hand reviewing here. Right. My recipe goes to you guys. You guys don't even make it. You put it in the hands of a brand new restaurant. We have no idea if they can even cook.
It's true.
And now suddenly I'm being rated by this. I don't want the audience to take this one example as
all right. Fair enough. And you have plenty of great examples on your YouTube channel. So Hey, number one, why are you what's going on in Cancun? What are you doing there?
Oh, just a vacation with my wife and two sister-in-laws and a husband. We tried to put together for a while now, and it's just gotten derailed for one reason or another. So just a little break because the weather in San Diego is probably 65 or 70 today, and who wants that? That's freezing. So we've come down here.
Yeah, where it's warmer. I can't believe you're checking in from your vacation. We appreciate that. That's really, really cool.
You guys reached out. I saw the comment on Twitter. You reached out, and I was honored. I'm always happy to chat with new friends.
Awesome.
And I hope that you call on me from time to time when you want to berate one of my recipes.
Certainly.
Well, I think he's reading it wrong. We approve.
Yeah, it was.
I in particular thought, not to go off on this too much, but taking potato chip flavors that you liked. I forget the one that was really a home run. No, listen. I want mashed potatoes made from potato chips to retain some of the potato chip flavor, and they did.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Look, years ago, before YouTube, I had a TV show in San Diego for a whole bunch of years, and we shot a show once that was based around mashed potatoes, and then we did certain things to them in one of the segments. And the person behind the camera never knew what my plan was until I started. And I said, okay, today we're going to start everything with these. And I reached into the pantry and I pulled out those dehydrated mashed potatoes that you guys talked about when you first discussed this. And she stopped the shooting and she went, you're effing kidding me. And I went, no, I'm not. I go, they're potatoes, just in a slightly different form. Look, dried porcini mushrooms are one of the great finds in the world. You rehydrate those and they're glorious.
Yeah.
A potato dehydrate. Come on, it's not the most sophisticated thing to start with. So what's the big effing deal?
Right. No, you're right.
Yes.
Hey, listen, real quick, Sam, you'd mentioned meeting new friends, and I'm new to your YouTube channel, and I can't wait to delve in and find out more about it.
Thank you.
Not knowing much about you, I pick up a little bit of a Canadian pronunciation. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Vancouver, Canada, West Coast, prettiest part of the country, we think.
Stunning. Both Steve and I have been there. It's just amazingly beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's not just beautiful, but it's a really cool city. It's got an amazing vibe. It's got a huge Asian population. It's got British influence from the old days. There's a touch of French. They all go together to make great food, interesting people.
And you guys got ahead on the marijuana thing way in advance of everybody else. That was pretty awesome.
Way in advance. Look, I was pushing for that as a 16-year-old boy living in that city, and they just they didn't listen to me then. It took them a while. I'd like to think I was the forerunner in that whole process.
So learning more about what you do. You know, I was watching a recipe this morning. It was from one of your newer videos, which was Italian fried rice. I make fried rice at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week.
Yeah.
It's a family recipe. It's really simple. It's nothing special, but it's something that I just love to do. And you've taken it in another direction. Is that, in a sense, what you like to do with most of your videos, is taking food into a new direction?
It is. I mean, sometimes we make a fairly straight ahead things. We made mushroom risotto a couple weeks ago. Nothing amazing about the recipe. I mean, it's really delicious, but sometimes the goal is really show people that they can make things often that they don't think that they can make, that they're complicated. So I think we found a really interesting niche. When cooking channels are on YouTube, they're generally one of two types: all kitchen-based, sandwiches and salads and breads and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Or they're sort of all outdoor barbecue-based, like smoking and grilling and sort of typically like caveman.
Right. You're right.
And we've mixed the two really nicely. We do almost all of our cooking outside. I'd say 97% is outside. But things outside that then maybe need to go into the oven. We'll make a lasagna that you wouldn't normally make outside, but we like our outside. It's my home. We like the outside set. It looks better. The lighting's better. And you don't need to see me really put something in the oven. If I make a lasagna and they go, this needs to bake for 10 minutes, why do I have to turn around and put it in a stupid oven?
Right.
I really don't. So we do the grilling where we're part live fire show, smoking, grilling, charcoal, Santa Maria style grills, that. And then we're also the side that does make the lasagna, the risottos, that kind of thing. We like to do across the board, so there's a little bit for everybody.
Well, you've got millions of subscribers, and there are loads of people doing different types of cooking on YouTube and other channels and here and there, and they always try to go after some kind of a hook, something that grabs you. And I was surprised, and I appreciated the fact that your presentation, or at least in the production, is very simple. It's very straight ahead. There's there's no magic editing, no little music, graphics and stuff. You keep it pretty simple and straight ahead, which is why I was kind of surprised you have the amount of people that subscribe, because I thought maybe there'd be more of a hook. But no, I'm assuming what it comes down to is you're just making good food.
It's an interesting sort of half compliment and half negative compliment. Your show is really basic. It's like a third grader can do it. And now I'm surprised that you have almost 3.5 million subscribers.
I had a feeling you might take it like that.
So look, we've been on YouTube since 2011. And in 2018, we had 30,000 subscribers, middle of 2018. From the middle of 2018 to the middle of 2019, we went from 30,000 to 1 million. And then the next year, another million, the next year, another million.
Wow.
And I think what we do, you're right, there is nothing fancy. I do think, though, the technical work, the editing is beautiful. The work for our channel is as beautiful as any TV I've ever done, for a start. It is simple, but I think my goal is that people walk away with a good understanding. So there's more talking in ours, I think, than many of them. Many of them it's like 1 cup, 2 cups, stir, mix, pour, bake, that kind of thing. I'll say, do this. And if you don't have this, let me tell you a workaround for it, or here's why I like to do this. I feel like I'm a teacher. It seems silly at times, but I do feel like I'm a bit of a teacher, and I really want people to walk away saying, almost swore.
All good.
I really want people to know that this is how they can do this. I had an idea in 2001 to start a travel show on TV. And the basis of it was show people that they could go to places they thought were complicated. And it wasn't, they could do it. Don't go to North Dakota again this summer. Try someplace you've never been or you've been scared of. Maybe go to Hong Kong or Tokyo or something like that. And, in 2001, sadly, 9/11 happened. Changed stuff for me. But I decided to find something else I thought I could do on TV that I could also help people learn so that they could go, I can do this. And I came across, literally within a week and a half of 9/11, I came across a cooking segment on a local channel here in San Diego. The guy was making a butternut squash soup. It was September, it was fall, it was a perfect thing to do. It was the most boring, complicated recipe I've ever seen. And as I watched that, I went, holy yes, somebody should make that better. And I went, damn it, I have nothing to do. I will try and make that better. My wife came home from work. I said, I'm going to start a cooking show instead of a travel one. She goes, I think that's a great idea. Just one thing, honey. I go, what? She goes, you just can't cook. I go, but see, here's the genius. I'll make things so easy, people will say I can do that. No, I'll be my own weakest link.
Wow. That makes complete sense, because I'll tell you what, as YouTube has grown over the years, and I remember clearly when the one video of the guy at the zoo that was the only available, and now we have, and we talk about it often, as a teaching device.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I'm fixing this thing in my house. You can find somebody doing that, doing it with the tools specifically that you're using in the specific. Yeah. And so I was just raging about what you just said a few minutes ago. I don't need all the production. I need someone to talk to me. And the way you're saying about giving is sort of a lesson on how to do it. It drives me crazy when they try to get too cute with the information imparting, and I'm there and I got the tools out or whatever. I'm like, just show me. Just tell me
how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think, a lot of people that cook in the culinary space on YouTube, a lot of them are credentialed in the sense they've been to culinary school, that kind of stuff. And I have none of that. I've never taken a cooking class. I've never been to culinary school. And I think that benefits me in the sense that I don't lean on that chef terminology, the chef technique, that kind of stuff. Right. I'll say things that regular everyday people would say, and it resonates with them and they can make it. And yes, I swear a lot. I'm sort of not normal that way. I was on a radio program live from Calgary a few months ago. And in the middle of the thing, the guy said the S word. And suddenly I went, oh my God, he's going to get in such trouble. And I went, oh no, it's Canada. They understand that that's not a word that's going to start a war.
Right.
No parents are going to write in about that. Yeah.
So Sam, with your lack of culinary experience going into this,
sure,
you're now a restaurateur, right? I mean, so you own 3 restaurants?
I have 3 restaurants. Here's the important part of that, Preston. I have 3 restaurants with partners, and they came to me and they said, look, we're fans, but we like what you do. Here's what we do. Do we think we could put that together? And I said, yes. But I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be on the line in the back every day. I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
Right.
When we run out of tomatoes, I'm not the guy to get them. Right. When Susie calls in sick, I'm not the guy that has to stand up, jump in on the line again that day. I say I have the best restaurant job in the business. I get to be the inspiration, the face, the brand, the food, the recipes. And they do their part and I do mine. And it's been a good relationship so far.
There are so many business ventures that I wanted to get into where I'm like, can I not be the person that has to do all the stuff and just kind of give you guys some ideas or something like that?
Yeah,
I've never found any takers on that.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, Preston, but it's a great relationship. And I know you're kidding, but it's a business that I said forever I would not go into on my own, because here's what I know. I know I don't know the restaurant business. And even though I have a successful YouTube following and, of course, a great following in San Diego, because this is where I started, I knew that I didn't know how to do that, which, unfortunately, a lot of people think it's about a dish or just a couple of recipes. Honey, your lasagna is so good, and that restaurant down the street is packed. If we had a restaurant, your lasagna is better, we'd be packed all the time.
Right. Yeah, there's a little bit more to it than that. Speaking of joking... And a listener had emailed me to ask you about this, to find out about this. They wanted to know, what's your beef with Guy Fieri, and is it a joke?
I've never met Guy Fieri. I am only jealous of his success. And he's such a public figure. Let him... his shoulders are strong enough that he can handle the jabs from a little 3.5 million YouTuber like me. Look, I think Guy Fieri on his show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, though it's not my particular style, his style.
Yeah.
It's a bit too over the top for me, but I think he's really good at what he does.
Right.
I think he brings that whole show alive. He does. He had a cooking show when he first won the Food Network star thing. He had a cooking show and he was in a kitchen, and the refrigerator had a racing stripe on it. There was a pool table. They were trained to play up this whole bad boy thing. I didn't think he was very good at that because he's so over the top. That being said, no, I don't, of course I'm jealous of that success he's got. Come on.
Well, who would you consider your muse in the culinary world? Who inspires you the most?
I do like Jamie Oliver quite a lot. You know,
Chef.
he doesn't use the Naked Chef title anymore, but he has a very natural style. There's nothing forced about it. I like the way that he just feels like you feel like he's just putting stuff together.
Right.
And people will say that about me. And I don't think it's that I modeled myself after him. I think this is just the style that came out, you know, once I started cooking on TV. I like him, and I'm old. So I remember, you know, Julia Child, not really, but certainly enough of her. And a guy named Dan. He was called the Galloping Gourmet.
We talk about him all the time, Sam.
And
he was the master of that sort of approach.
Yeah, what I liked about both of them, Graham Kerr, his name, and Julia Child, if something effed up, they went with it.
Yeah,
they didn't. You know, I read once that Rachel Ray in one of her shows in the very beginning cut herself quite badly. They stopped the tape. They crazy glued it, which you can do. It's 100% safe. Put makeup on it, then rolled the tape back a little bit, and then carried on like it never happened. If that happens to me, I swear, if I drop something, we leave it in. If I burn myself, we leave it in. If I can't get something out of a pan, we leave it in. And people will come up to me and they go, one of the things we like is that you make us feel like it's okay to make mistakes in the kitchen. It's almost more encouraging than anything else.
Yeah, I can see that.
So those two people had that style, and for that, I like it.
Sam, I remember one time seeing Julia Child. She was cutting a chicken, and she cut her hand open, so like the blood was spurting all over the place.
Really,
the crowd was going crazy. It was. Well, that was Saturday Night
Live. You sure that wasn't Dan? You sure that wasn't Dan Aykroyd?
You know, hindsight. Listen, speaking of the Food Network stars, Sam, does anybody, because of your look, does anybody think that you're Ted Allen from Chopped? Have you ever gotten mistaken?
So there was a big food event in San Diego a few years ago, and there was this big party the night before. And I'm there, and Ted Allen's there, and somebody says, "Oh, let me introduce you to Ted Allen." So I walk up, they introduce me, and he goes, "I have a funny story about you." I go, "What?" He goes, "We were in a restaurant last night. We finished our dinner. We come outside. We're waiting for the car. We're on the street, and a woman comes up, and she says, 'Oh, my God, I'm the hugest fan. Would you sign a T-shirt for me?' And he goes, 'Of course.' And he goes, 'I'm feeling good inside.' And she walks to her car. She comes back. Somehow she had like a plain T-shirt in her car. And he goes, I sign it for her. I hand it to her, and she's so thankful. And she's walking down the street, and she gets about 2 doors down, and she turns around and she goes, 'This doesn't say Sam the cooking guy.' And he goes, 'I didn't know who you were, and then I asked somebody, and now I see you.' And he goes, 'Yeah, I do think we kind of look alike.'"
So it's valid.
That's fantastic.
It's valid, 100%. Yeah, it's these dumb dopey glasses that I will now have to own for the rest of my life, or I won't look like me.
It's your look. Don't screw with what's working.
Like I'm okay with it.
So Sam, you've delved into the cheesesteak realm on the show.
Yes. God, and please. Oh no, I feared this might come up. Yes. Look, my next cookbook. May I show you?
Yeah, please.
Oh.
Sam the cooking guy between the buns. I love it.
So tacos, hamburgers, sandwiches, burgers, and burritos. So there is a. By the way, if you pre-order this, you have a chance to win a virtual cooking class, private one. Just me, you, and whoever you want.
Nice.
Wow. So there's a Philly steak sandwich in here, and I think one of the biggest problems people make is they overcook the meat. They cut the pieces too thick. They overcook the meat. They undercook the vegetables. Okay. You want the vegetables in here, the peppers and the onions, to be really well caramelized. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that in 2 seconds in a pan. And if you cut the meat too thick, when you take a bite, you get a big hunk of meat hanging off your lip that's no longer in the bread. Yep. And it's tough. You can't do that.
It's funny you should bring that up. It's funny you bring that up because now you can use that as a Rorschach test here in Philadelphia, because whatever place you align with will say a lot. You know, it's sort of like a personality profile. I tend to agree. To me, the classic cheesesteak is thinly sliced meat, but there are people who love it the other way, and it's for the exact reason you mentioned. You pull out half the sandwich with every bite you take. But it probably exists in the pantheon of those, as with pizza. whatever way works for you is the right way to make it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So before our YouTube channel Style Now, which are episodes that are 15-ish minutes long, sometimes much less. We had a version of it. It was called the Sam Livecast, and it was part talk show, like me at a desk talking like this. We did it live, and then I'd go in the kitchen and cook something. Back in those days, Tony Luke came to San Diego, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, do you want to do something with him?" And I said, "Of course." So he came to my house, and we had a dueling Philly cheesesteak competition. He did his version, which was damn good. I did my version that had a slight Asian, little Asian inspiration to us. I think mine was better. I'm just going to brag. Go there and say that. Yeah. I don't think I could ever get Tony to say that, though. And though we've only met once, I think he was a really, really, really nice guy.
He's a great guy. And, he's a friend of the show.
It's great. So yes, I'll also say this for people listening. This is back to the teaching part. Thinly sliced meat, cooked very quickly on a hot surface, is much more forgiving in the end than big, fat, thick pieces. Yep. So if a first-timer is out there trying to make a great Philly cheesesteak, or any kind of cheesesteak, slice it thin. You'll find you won't F it up nearly as much as those thicker thumb-sized pieces of meat.
Sage advice. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. From a guy that never went to culinary school. Swears a
lot. Wow. It's impressive stuff. So what are some of the newer things coming up that we can look forward to that you're tackling on the YouTube channel?
Well, let's see. So we just shot the other day. I think it was really fun. We bought 5 Instapots, lined them all up on the kitchen counter, and we started at one end. It put one thing in, one thing, and went back and showed how they turned out. And Instapots are great.
All right.
Any type, multi-cooker. So this will come out today, I think. It's Monday. I think it's today's episode.
I wanted to get a handle on what you thought about the Instapot because my wife, I got her one. It was all the rage, I think, 2 years ago. The Instapot. Yeah. And so I contend there's a lot more we can do with it, but it doesn't seem to be lighting her fire. But you believe in the Instapot?
Look, in my personal life, I don't use one very often.
Yeah.
But then here's what we learned about the channel. It's not what I want. It's what the audience wants, right? In any business, it should be that. Here's what we made. In one, we made a short rib ragu in about, an hour, start to finish. Unbelievably delicious. Put it on pasta. We made shrimp, chicken, and sausage jambalaya. Dump everything in, stir, close the lid, turn it on the rice cooker setting, which the Instapots do. Amazing. We made macaroni and cheese, a little truffle mac and cheese in one in about 10 minutes. Huh. We made pork ribs in half an hour in the Instapot, and then took them out and put them under the broiler for 5 minutes. I mean, you can't do that any other way. You really can't. Yeah. And that's using the pressure cooker setting.
Okay.
So it's impressive what you can do with these things. It depends on how you like to cook. My wife and I eat pretty simply. Dinner, all our kids are grown. So dinner for us is always a big ass salad with some protein on it. Chicken, shrimp, steak, that kind of thing. We like burgers. So I use a grill. I use my stovetop. I use, whatever. I don't really use an Instapot a whole lot in my personal life, but
well, yeah, because it's just you. I think, yeah, like to me, I guess maybe that's what the reticence. It's just us. It's just two people, and you're always making an ass load of stuff.
Yeah, but do you make ribs? I mean, you don't see. Here's the thing that I get: people go, "Well, will you do an episode on cooking for one?"
Yeah,
I go, "Yeah." Go to the store and buy one stinking steak. You don't have to go to Costco. Yeah. 140 pounds of ribeye. You don't. You can buy one freaking potato and make mashed potatoes for just you.
Yeah.
Or F the potato and buy a bag of chips. Use that for your mashed potatoes.
Make your mashed potatoes.
You just brought up something that has bugged me about my wife for years. When we would make mashed potatoes, just the two of us before kids, she would buy 5 pounds of potatoes, make up mashed potatoes. I'm like, how many potatoes can you sit down and eat? One, right? Let's just mash up 2 potatoes and that ought to do it.
Then you got it. Then what are you doing with the rest of them? My last book, leftover recipes with intentional leftovers, was what you do, make a chicken, and then what you do with it besides just eating chicken the same way every night. you make a giant big pile of mashed potatoes, and you got to figure out what to do. Then you're making mashed potato cakes and stuff like that, and it's good. But two potatoes. 2 people, 2 potatoes. I think you'll be okay.
Do you know what appeals to me about your approach to this? Because I do love. We do. There's a segment that we do every week. The connoisseur about cooking and all that stuff. And because so many people connect on, everyone finds a level to connect to something. Food is always a topic of discussion. And so my wife and I, we rate things on what we call the reheat factor. How does it reheat? And I contend there are some foods that are better on the reheat than they are on the initial serving. Do you agree?
Of course. Lasagna.
Yeah.
I think lasagna is great when it comes out of the oven. I just think something magical happens when you reheat it. Pizza is a sticking point for me. In that book, the Leftovers book, I showed how to make a pizza and then how to reheat it. I know there's a lot of people, they'll dump all over me for showing how to reheat pizza. I like cold pizza the next morning. After cold pizza, I can't stand it. So I say you do this. You take a nonstick pan, you put it on the heat, like medium-high heat. Then you take a slice of pizza, you put it on a plate, you put it in the microwave for about 45 seconds to a minute. It starts to get all bubbly on top. The second it's bubbling on top, take it out of the microwave, you slide it right into that now hot nonstick pan. It should hit the pan and go get a little bit of that. And now the bottom is getting crispy. The top is all hot and melty. The bottom's getting crispy. It's pretty close to how it came out of the box. No, it won't come out of the box like that.
Right.
Pretty much how you'd get it if you were sitting at the counter of the restaurant.
Right.
And they slide it right in front of you.
I love it.
But no, some things, the microwave is good for certain things. The air fryer, on the other hand, is also very good at warming stuff back up.
Yeah, no, we use the air fryer all the time. A lot of this, and it's just fun. Again, Preston does the most cooking of anybody on the show, but just on a basic level, this is the spice of life, and to have a point of entry that you're obviously providing to your viewers, where you don't have to be the stereotype of the snobbish sort of foodie, and have this point of access. I think means a lot. That's why you're doing so as well as you are.
Yeah, you know what, that term foodie, are you a foodie? I'm a foodie. She's a foodie. I don't think he's a foodie. We don't want them to come over. That's just nonsense talk. What's a foodie? A person that likes to eat food.
Yeah, right.
Everybody likes to eat food, except my mother-in-law, who sees food as nourishment only. She doesn't really care how good it is. Not a very good cook, but I do adore her. That being said, look, I could talk food all the time, all the time. When I do a live event, I'm in front of an audience. Whatever the reason I'm there for, at some point always degrades into, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about.
Yeah.
What are you having trouble making? And if I can help with that, don't ask me a baking question ever. Even though right now I have bagels proofing, we're going to finish off the bagels when we're done with this. We have a show coming up, how to make your own lox, how to make your own bagels, and how to make a smoked cream cheese, which we did on an episode for that buffalo chicken dip. You have a smoker? Anybody there?
No,
but
I don't have a smoker.
My neighbor used to, and man, the stuff that would come out of that is pretty awesome.
So I'm telling you, who's ever listening right now, you take a block of Philly cream cheese. Of course, I wouldn't mention any other one. You put it in a little pan, cast iron pan, whatever. You make some little X's across the top. You sprinkle it with anything you want. In this case, we'll watch it on YouTube for the buffalo chicken dip. We sprinkle it with barbecue seasoning. Set your smoker at 225, leave it for 2 hours. It will not melt into a puddle. It definitely gets softer, but it holds its shape. At the end of 2 hours, you take it out, and it is life-changing. It is transformative. It is cream cheese like you've never had before. And it was so good that when we made it, I said, damn, imagine you could put like everything bagel seasoning on it. And then it went, hey, if you do that with everything bagel seasoning, then we should make our own bagels, and then we should make our own lox. So that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks.
That's cool.
But yeah, so the point is, I forgot the question. No. Oh, the point is, I like to talk food all the time.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Sam, before we wrap, if people find themselves in the San Diego area, what are your restaurants that we should visit?
So they're all in Little Italy. They're all about 25 yards away from each other. 2 are in the Little Italy Food Hall. One is called Samburgers. which you can guess probably what that is. And we love doing burgers on our channel. We have a great one coming up this week. The other one's called Not Tacos, and Not Tacos because they're not Mexican tacos. Not that I don't love Mexican tacos. I love Mexican food. I'm in Mexico. Yeah. Everything I've had here has been Mexican. But San Diego has so many great Mexican restaurants. I didn't need to be a guy to try and the Jewish Canadian boy did not need to bring more Mexican tacos. Right. So there's things like Korean short rib, mashed potato, pulled pork with macaroni and cheese, stuff like that. They're really good.
That. Yeah.
Most of them are in this book. Shameless plug.
All right.
And the other one is called Graze, Graze. And Graze, like a cow would eat a little bit of this. So it's charcuterie boards and flatbreads and appetizers and salads and bar and that kind of stuff.
Well, you need
Little Italy food hall.
You need to chain those up because we'd like to. They sound pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. It's all good. So just know this: the book will be coming. Some copies to you guys when it comes out. It comes out in May.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And for restaurant info and food info and all this, you can go to thecookingguy.com or you go to the YouTube channel for all the stuff and go find my Philly versions, cheesesteak versions, and all the stuff we've been talking about. It's all there. Everything's there.
Well, good on you, man. You're a hell of a success.
Are great.
Hell of a success story,
yeah, thanks,
Sam.
man.
That's
Call
really
on
cool.
me anytime to answer food questions or
all right.
Consider it done.
Judge a debate.
Yeah, and resume vacation. All right, man.
I'll go back.
Please
bring the margaritas now.
All right, Sam the cooking guy. Thanks, Sam. Take care, man. We'll see you later. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Very conversive, very cool.
No idea. Zero culinary experience at all, and just followed his passion. I guess he just liked doing it, and one thing led to another, and look at him, huge success. That's really cool.
Yeah, God bless that. You have to stick. He stuck with it, you know. And again, you said finding the hook, finding the high concept. I'm not a chef. This is how I'm going to prepare it.
I don't know about you guys, but when he was talking about the smoker, my mouth started to water. The way that he was describing it, and then the buffalo chicken dip and whatever the hell else, I was like, yeah, I'm in.
A lot of things made my mouth water that conversation. All right, so you can go to thecookingguy.com to get all information. Just do a search on Sam the Cooking Guy on YouTube and subscribe and check it out and get some good ideas.